Hey guys, it's John, and welcome back to The Letter, part 24. We're just beginning the 7th and final chapter for Luke. And let's go ahead and read his profile. Luke. His real name is Lucille. Lucille Mitchell Wright. He is 31 years old, 5'8", president and CEO. He is atheist. He is a high school dropout, privately tutored. He likes bread pudding, dogs, wine and absinthe, piano playing, daffodils, money, women, and power. Okay? A prostitute's son, he spent his childhood roaming the streets begging or pickpocketing in order to avoid home. Home meant a too-drunk mother and her equally drunk clients, some of whom would take to beating the child out of anger if he so much as looked at them wrong. Great. That meant he was always in trouble in one form or another. Nothing was done to correct it until, in a sober moment, his mother found out about the abuse and promised to take better care of her son. Luke was happy for a while, but his mother's bad habits led to an early grave and left him orphaned until his biological father, a businessman with no legitimate heir, sought him out. He was trained to inherit Wright Enterprise, but along the way got mixed up with illegal activities. That put the company in a bad spot after his assistant ran off with a large sum of dirty money. Bankruptcy would have been inevitable if he hadn't married Hannah, who freaking called this little sentence way back in Hannah's chapter. Interesting. So the marriage was to save the company. It's very interesting to me that this profile really paints Luke in a sympathetic light, and in fact, most of the writing throughout the entire visual novel has painted Luke in a sympathetic light, yet we know now that he murders people. Let me look at this real quick. This is how November 1st ended for us in Ash's chapter, and I'm pretty sure that this scene right here is the final scene in the game. All right, at the top of the grand staircase stood Hannah Wright, and I guess we're gonna find out what happens at the very end of Luke's chapter, but as you can see from how tiny the red line is here, it's gonna take us a really long time. In fact, this started us off as one of 4 different beginnings to chapter 7, so that's interesting. Let's check out his relationships. Of course, there he is. He looks evil as can be. He has the lowest relationship with Ashton. He actually has higher relationships with Rebecca and Marianne than his own wife, Hannah. And he doesn't care much for Zach or Isabella. Interesting. Okay. Now that we're all caught up, another long and exhausting day at work, and I still have much to do. Sometimes I wonder why I still bother. I can surely afford to retire, leaving the businesses to trusted colleagues. Even if they make enough to only break even, I have enough money to last us a lifetime or 3. I could send 7 children to college if I had any, not that I plan to. But the problem is obvious, isn't it? I don't trust any of the lot. It has to be me because they might get it wrong. I don't want to retire and suddenly wake up one day only to find that everything has gone down the shitter. Maybe I should hire McCulloch as a personal assistant. She seems capable and trustworthy enough. I'm just really curious right here. I guess that's the branching path. McCulloch. Right there, if you have a positive relationship with her. Anyway. It's hard to find someone who isn't trying to butter me up and trying to curry favor with me. What's the context for this monologue? Why do we just have a black screen here?
Christ, I'm knackered. Why do I have to kill to have fewer problems around here?
We're starting right off with the murder, are we? All right. Luke is a killer. I'm not really allowed to complain. I chose this path. But that doesn't stop me from doing so as I throw my shoes off and let them land wherever they please. Petty, maybe, but there's a certain joy that comes from stepping on the carpeted staircase with nothing but my socks on. So this is October 29th. I'm actually surprised that we're starting so late in the timeline. This is really late in the timeline. October 29th, that's here. So at this point, just to give context, Zach just met Kylie, so he was just driven out of his apartment by the ghost, I believe. Ash got taken off of the case. Rebecca confronted Ash about what happened at the party. So this is post-housewarming party. Ash saw Isabella in her pajamas. And then we've got, Hana is now possessed. Okay, so Ash and Isabella, right now I'm assuming since it's nighttime, evening, Ash and Isabella just had a close call at Briar Realty Corporation, looking through the files. So you're all caught up on the context for this scene. I'll accept no distractions. I can call up Johans for a sandwich, but that's probably it. I've got a suitcase filled with contracts to check over and sign before I can retire for the night. I'm also waiting for a call from Suarez for any new updates regarding the IT leaks, a real cause for concern. It's the reason there have been investigations on me. Had it been a new thing, I would have let it run its course. But it's been going on for far too long, near 3 years, for me to take on a passive role in the affair. I've only kept my head this far because I managed to mitigate most of the damage with several favors, and some grand puppeteer to ensure the high-profile law enforcement and government officials keep me out of trouble. But who knows how long it can stay that way? Powers are shifting and the current can be unpredictable. This whole exit business is already shaking things up and upsetting the balance. It's only with great care that I stay where I am, but the smallest of efforts can unravel all that I've done. It certainly won't help if I'm being accused of things, whether I'm guilty of them or not, because some computer chump thinks he can play a game with me. And well, shit. It'll be a miracle if I get to sleep tonight, though that is hardly surprising news. But before I can even take a step into the study, a voice from the bedroom calls out to me.
Luke, darling, you're finally home. Why don't you be a dear and come in here?
And I hesitate for a moment. I do have work to be done. I do have work to do, but I suppose greeting my wife as I get home is only proper. Interesting. He doesn't... Seems like he's doing it out of duty here. Out of, you know, obligation. I've already been gone for most of the week unless I needed to be here for work on the house. So with a sigh, I head towards the bedroom. Is it getting hot in here, or is it just me? The feelings that came to me as I enter the room are definitely mixed. Mixed? For one, I am somewhat floored by the sight that greets me. Then there is confusion. Exasperation is strangely there as well. And as to be expected, there is desire. She is a divine goddess, or rather, she is a horrible temptress. What man wouldn't be attracted by that? I guess they could be a sausage jockey. Haven't heard that one before. But that is beside the point and is not relevant to the situation I found myself in right now. This is nice and all, but why does she have to go and do this now of all nights?
My love, the bed is awfully cold without you.
I got an achievement called Slutty Hannah. Excuse me, I'm gonna have to take a look at this branching path. Okay, so this is just the low one. I guess it's just like Hannah's possessed. Is this route? The matter of the fact is, I've never seen Hannah all primped up like this since our first year of marriage. There must be something special to bring on such an act. Our wedding anniversary has already passed, so that can't be it. Hannah's birthday is in April and mine is in August, so it can't be any of those either. So what in bloody blazes brought this on? Is Hannah drunk?
Why don't you just, take a rest? I'll be busy all night.
Is that answer too cold? Yes, it definitely is. She broke out the fishnets. Come on. I don't mean it to be. She certainly doesn't look amused.
Come on over and stop being a boring old man. Work can wait.
Maybe I can entertain her just for a while. It is a tempting idea. But no, I'll never get any work done that way. And imagine how horrible it would be to get a call from Suarez in the middle of a shag. A shag? Alright, you freaking Gen Xer. That would certainly kill the mood and piss me off more than anything. It'll be even worse if Kylie steals the phone from him. I guess it's more of a boomer thing to say, huh? 70s. As the little ankle biter is prone to do unless her father is locked in a room. Just thinking about the possibility is weird and turns me off from even trying anything. Wait, what did I just hear? Right. Okay.
I'm afraid it can't, Buttercup. But hey, it's Sunday tomorrow. We can go out for dinner right after. Somewhere nice like that Italian restaurant you wanted to try out?
Why don't we skip dinner tomorrow and eat out tonight?
Whoa there, why don't we slow down? Looks like someone is in the mood, but hey, there's a time and place for everything.
Yeah, you're in a bedroom in your own home at night, so this is definitely the time and place. Hate to break it to you, Luke. I grew up in a house where sex was a constant thing. It's just a thing that the body does, more or less. Sometimes it comes with social implications, supposedly, with paper-thin walls, and a mother with that horrid job of hers made me think that way. But I learned later on that it isn't the case for everybody. Suffice to say, this is really odd, for her at least. I am quite sure she never grew up in a sexually promiscuous home like I did. She grew up with a well-to-do, normal, and decent family. And the 7 years we've been married, she's never acted this aggressive about sex. We do it when the mood comes to that, but never like this. And when I'm in the mood and she isn't, that's about the time I go around town to have my back scratched. Ah. I see. I've got nothing to be guilty of, I believe, as long as it's just lust and not love. That's a good way to explain it, I guess. I'm just really confused and trying to come to grips with reality as it is presented to me. Alright, whatever, Luke.
Well, this is the place, but now is not a good time, darling. Like I said, I have plenty of important work to be done. Any other night, this would be great. Excellent, splendid. But not right now, okay?
I suppose if that's what you want. I can have my prince another time.
This is kind of weird. A chill runs up my spine as she calls me that again. My prince. Is she going through some midlife crisis? I know she's not the sort to play pretend with that sort of thing. Now that I think about it, this is probably some dream. Perhaps I've been exposed to something. Jesus, I've gone and fucked my own brain over. That can be the only explanation, or at least the only explanation my mind wants to accept right now. But if it were, I should probably accept her offer, no? But on the off chance it isn't, I shouldn't. Either choice fucks someone over. Quite literally at that. You're gonna make me choose, aren't you?
Yes, that's right. Another time. So if you could put your dress back on. It's really chilly right now, isn't it?
Isn't that little Joker laugh right there?
You don't want to catch a cold if we're going out tomorrow.
Thankfully, she's done as she's told, which puts this strange episode to an abrupt end. Unfortunately, she had to put her dress back on so painfully and seductively slow, I suspect she knows the things she does to me. As much as I'd like to have the engine running, there are things to be done to make sure we can keep on enjoying a glamorous life as we do now.
I'm starting to think you don't find me beautiful anymore.
Look, her eyes have changed color.
Is that what brought this on, then? You are an angel. A goddess, Hana. Of all the flowers in this garden, you are by far the most beautiful and rarest of them all.
Yeah, what fucking second-rate poetry book did you pick that one up from?
Every bloke would want to be with you, and every lady would want to be you. I'm sure it goes the other way around, too.
Every bloke would want to be you, and every lady would want to be with you? What?
I'm lucky to have you, and I don't know how
Wait,
you
what?
put up with the likes of me.
Maybe every bloke would want to be him. I don't know. I'm lucky to have you, and I don't know how you put up with the likes of me. Okay.
I'm really sorry, darling, but it really isn't a good time.
I don't quite think little Luke is up for some fun just yet either. Can this scene please end? This is getting the chapter off to a very awkward start. Now after the blow he had been dealt by the violent ginger harpy. Oh, that's right. I forgot about that. It does hurt me to see her upset because of something I've done or said. It always does. Huh. One can't always get his or her way, though. At least society would like you to believe in order to soften the blow of disappointment. And I'll have to take their side on that just this once. Pulling her in for a hug and a peck of the cheek, I'm quick to pull away before I change my mind and make it more than that. I can at least give her those.
Chin up and smile. You'll get wrinkles frowning like that. And beauty sleep helps.
Of course, my prince. I suppose I can do with the sleep.
The smile that lights up on her face is enough to make me forget about the oddity that had just transpired. I still don't understand this whole prince thing, though I'll let it slide for now. Seeing her with her golden locks and that silver dress, it almost makes her queenly. With due respect to her majesty, of course. Oh, whatever. Despite that, there is just something off.
Hana, before I go, what happened to your necklace? The blue diamond.
The fact that she seems confused feels off.
Whatever do you mean? Oh, that old thing. It's somewhere in the vanity drawer, I think.
And to be so aloof about
What?
it.
But wasn't that from your father?
It was a priceless heirloom, to be exact, handed down from one generation of Evans to the next, whether it be to a wife or a daughter of an Evans. I know that Hana treasures it so, especially after it was given to her with her own mother's passing. Then what is with that ugly thing dangling around her neck? It looks more like a choking hazard than anything.
It was, of course it was. I just thought a change would be nice.
I don't think I've seen her wear anything else in its place. A change it is, but not an entirely welcome one at that.
I see. I suppose that makes sense. Well, not that it matters, but I like the old necklace better. At the very least, we can have it cleaned and polished while you're not wearing it. Remind me to have that done in the morning.
Whatever you wish, my prince.
Right. You have a good night then, Buttercup.
Right. Right. It's funny. I think Luke's voice actor is, I think he has the most fun out of all of them in the cast. What's his name? Curtis Owens or something like that. I don't know. You can check the IMDb page. With a shake of my head, I don't waste any more time than I've done already. Heavy suitcase in hand, I head straight into the study and dive right into the contracts. There's a whole stack of them too, mostly to do with property management. Nonetheless, careful work needs to be put into them as with everything else. My attorneys have already checked them over, but I like to be precise. I'm not going to sign if there's even a single line I do not like. Wow. I understand, I understand that he's this paranoid because, I guess if my company went bankrupt before too, and I had to merge with another company, right, to save it. That's what happened, right? I think I'd be friggin' paranoid too. It's a long way into the night when a coldness envelops the room. I suspect at first that it's merely just the usual chill, but the heaters have been turned on as the strange sunny weather that's been gracing us as of late has come to an end. The door is barely open, just by a crack, though I shut it in case that might help. Satisfied, though not as much as I would have liked, the room still feels freezing. I make my way back to the mess of documents waiting for me at the table. Just a few more and I can go back to that well-deserved rest, get out of this place, and dive into warm comforts of my bed. Then maybe, if Hana's still up for it, well, it's more than enough motivation. Parking my rear back on the chair, I begin my work with the last of the blasted papers, more than ready to be done with everything and turn in for the night. Only for another chill to startle me to a stop. And that's when I feel the hairs on the back of my neck stand on end. Eyes boring at the back of my head, a brush of air just at the nape, and when I glance back... Reflected in the lone portrait in the room, someone stands behind me, just by the study door I closed moments ago, though I did not hear it open. Perhaps it is Hana trying to be sneaky, or Johans being a bellend of a spook, as usual.
Do I really have to ask people to knock before they enter? Seriously now, this is anarchy, and I'll have you know...
I turn, but there's nothing.
Huh. Must have been a trick of the light. It is getting late, and I should really go to bed myself. Just have to finish looking over a few more contracts, and...
Yes, just finished signing these, and I can have some rest. Maybe arrange for a day off in the morning. There's that ash sigh. I steel myself for a long night of dry paperwork. Still, the feeling that I'm being watched stays with me all through the night. So we're up to October 30th. It greatly pleases me that we are so far into the timeline. I thought it was going to be like, all right, so we're going to start off with what Luke was doing on the morning of October 17th. He had eggs for breakfast. It's just like, I thought it was just going to be like that. And thankfully it's not. So yeah, so this happened after everything, right? Because it was a late night, right? And with the sun rising comes another disturbance, both too loud and too sharp for my taste, and I have very fine tastes. When the piercing rings of a doorbell reaches even the study, I'm very much inclined to think the person who built this place lacks any sense of it. Perhaps the only thing good in this is that the ruckus has chased away the needling guilt from last night's commotion, if only temporarily. Still, it's a bloody annoying distraction. I can tell already that it is going to be a long day. It hasn't even started. Before the racket even lasts another minute, I'm peeling myself off the chair and heading straight for the main door, so he didn't go to bed. Interesting. There will be a murder today if this doesn't let up. How quaint. It seems everything in this blasted universe is intent on getting on my nerves as of late.
Gordon Bennett! Only a Nancy would knock at such an ungodly hour!
Here we are. In the first place, I shouldn't be the one doing this. This is why I hired a valet, for fuck's sake.
Where's that damn butler when I need him?
I'll be honest, if only for today. With the mansion this quiet at this hour of the morning, it's easy to believe those little ghost stories might be real. But the only horror here is how odd my own wife has been acting as of late. There's no place for fear when another set of problems already burns that fuel. So I wait for another second. When no butler still answers my call, I simply yank the doors open myself, perhaps with more force than needed. So this is Zach, right? Yeah. And maybe it should be appropriately there, considering the person on the other side of the hour, he dared appear on my doorstep. Even someone with half a brain knows not to disturb anyone this early. Brief confusion quickly gives way to anger, and before the bloody photographer can even get a word in, I'm hurling venom at him. It's less than he deserves, really. Hannah will disapprove, scold me for treating the man with such disrespect if she hears me right now, because they have a high relationship, I guess. She seems fond of him after all, treats him like a friend she's known for years. But she's not here, is she? What she doesn't know...
You! Again! It's bloody 6 in the morning! What the hell is it now?
I was wondering why he was dressed. It makes sense now, because I commented on that, remember?
Listen, sir, I know this is not a good time.
Oh, it's not a good time! Did you even check the clock before coming here? I bet you didn't!
This is still my home. My rules also apply to this place as much as Hana's do. As simple as that.
Unlike you, the ones living in this house need to sleep.
It just so happens it's also a person I will never take a liking to. No need for remorse.
Come back when people are actually awake, or I'll call security on you.
He continues shouting even as I slam the door in his face. Some nonsense about the news lately, though I don't understand most of it. However, with the closed doors muffling the better part of it and with no ears to listen, his tirade doesn't last too long. Eventually, he leaves and silence once again fills the room as it should. In hindsight, maybe I should also call for psychiatric services? He certainly sounds mental, just screaming like that. A suspicious man like him left roaming the immediate grounds? Nothing good can come of it. But if his presence will indeed bring a problem, a sign of bad things to come, I'll probably know soon enough. Worst comes to worst, Johans will take care of it if need be. That's what I'm paying him for. In the meantime, I need rest, even for just a few hours. My lovely wife's still fast asleep when I finally join her in our bed. As odd she's been acting lately, her company is nice after spending long, grueling hours going through business documents. Then again, it's not like I'd be losing out much if I take a break or two. In fact, all I have to do is say the word and Vance General Electronics stocks are going to go down. That's the least I can do after Rochelle Vance's outburst during the party. Huh. I highly doubt she'll be Rochelle Lee for long, not if Harvey has any sense in him. So with a sigh, I drift off, setting aside my problems if only for a few hours. Waking up to find my bed empty hours later is a strange sensation. Not to speak ill of Hana, but I've always woken up first, even in the early years of our marriage, mostly because I've always been accustomed to doing so. As a child, I woke up early to escape the house before one of Mother's scheduled day clients came in. Later on, it was to assist with breakfast and to prepare for school. And it just kept with me through the years for one reason or another. If there was no reason to wake up at 6 in the morning, my mind would always find reason to. To work, to nurse a terrible hangover, to make sure I was the one leaving the bed first, just because, and not the other way around. Checking the time on my phone shows that it's already 8:30, but what can I do about it? It's interesting, that last sentence. To make sure I was the one leaving the bed first, just because, and not the other way around. That could be interpreted as, traditional gender roles, but I think really what it is he has always felt guilty that Hana had to rescue his company from bankruptcy through their marriage, and so that might be why he's such a workaholic now, is because he's trying to maintain it for the both of them so that he can feel like he's contributing something financially. That his business wasn't rescued for nothing, I don't know. Just a thought. Getting up is an entirely different problem on its own. Waking up after getting only a few hours of sleep in has my body stiff and sore, my mind feeling lethargic. A part of me wants to go back and doze off again, an alien feeling to me, but it's already far too late for my taste. All I can manage is to sit up before there's a knock on the door.
Yes, come in. I'm decent. I don't see why you have to knock.
Even if I was only in my knickers, there's only 2 others inside the house aside from myself. I've arranged for the staff to have the Sunday off. We never get to meet the staff, huh? Well, with it so close to a holiday anyway, so that I can have some peace and privacy. The security outside the house doesn't count, of course. There's no need for Hana to knock, so I expect to see the butler and ready myself for reproach. To see that it is Hana is odd, but not a cause for concern. Most likely she too found it strange to see me still sleeping and had let me indulge. Yet there is something off. I just can't put a finger on what it is. Whatever it is, it can wait. Besides, when there are strange things, it is better to wait them out, as they often become apparent with time. Not that I should complain when she greets me with a sunny smile on her face and a tray of food.
Good morning, dear. It looks like I overslept, huh? I haven't had that pleasure in a long while.
You should really indulge in it a bit more, my prince. I hope you do not mind, but I made breakfast for you.
I've been expecting her to tell me that she brought the meal up in order to eat together, not that she made it. For in all our marriage, Hana had never cooked once, though I can hardly find it in me to question her efforts unless she was trying to poison me. Perish the thought. But she carries with her a platter of pies, delicious-looking round pockets of goodness. I'll have no second thoughts in fishing one off the plate with a hum, in fact. It smells divine, and it looks the part as well. The crust from outside looks like it's been baked to a golden and flaky perfection. The egg wash wasn't forgotten either, giving it a nice finish.
You made these? You're not pulling my leg, are you? These look great.
I make only the best for you, my love. Do try it out yourself, yes? I want to see what you make of
I
it.
feel like she's possessed by the witch. The witch that was burned at the stake by Charlotte Ermengarde. Hana's never cooked, right? So she's getting those skills from somewhere. Perhaps the witch who was a servant, perhaps she cooked for them. And that's why she's calling him her prince. Maybe she seduced Charlotte's husband and she had to have her burned at the stake. I don't know.
Perhaps I will be able to prepare more meals for you in the future.
Breakfast in bed? You spoil me, darling. Well, I can't say no to that, can I? Bon appetit.
Corny piece of crap. The crust of the pie breaks easily with a bite, and I'm greeted with the taste of nice buttery pastry. But looking back down at the pie, I feel a bit put off. The meat is red and a tad bit soggy, though I can't place what would make it that way. Is it human flesh? Look, it looks hairy! It tastes of turkey more than beef, though an old one at that. There's no real sauce of marinade to excuse the juice. It tastes like turkey that's been kept too long in the fridge after being roasted and carved. Definitely white meat at the very least, and well done at that. The thing is tough though, stringy and sinewy, which would say it's more muscle than anything. And
What is...
I sputter, trying to spit out whatever it might be. A few fine strands of something thankfully comes out. Although if I've swallowed any, it's far too late, not unless I want to act like a cat trying to cough up a fur ball. It's just unfortunate the odd sensation of it being stuck in my throat still lingers, even as I down the glass of juice she has brought with the meal.
Buttercup, are you sure the ingredients you used are clean?
Oh, I do apologize. That must be... You know, Chef has been feeding some stray cats lately.
Is it cat? Did I just eat cat?
There are some roaming around the property. I saw him petting one just the other day during his break. Said he found it in a cellar. But you have nothing to worry about, my love. I took care of it.
She laughs then, probably because of the funny look on my face, but I have just this funny image in my head of Hana chasing after a cat to shoo it out. We aren't cat people, but I doubt that means she would be cruel to the feline.
Maybe the other pies are clean.
I don't quite have the appetite for breakfast anymore. But thanks. Bloody cats.
You will spend time with me, yes?
What? Okay, well the line is, if that is what you wish, all the same, it will give me more time to spend with you.
You will spend time with me, yes?
You will spend time with me, yes? I did tell myself that I would let myself have the day off today. But she doesn't know that. I'm sorry, but how does this happen in a fully released game? A fully released visual novel? Like, there's only so many things to check. How does that slip out? I know there's like 700,000 words in this thing or whatever, but come on. And I can't help but feel that offness again as her eyes burn through me. There is an eagerness there, a hunger which makes my skin crawl. An unnatural reaction. I can do little else but nod, because answering otherwise would seems the wrong thing to do.
Would it please you to have some tea then? I can fetch it if you wish.
Pushing myself off the bed with a groan, I roll my eyes and sigh. The cricket I feel in my neck is easily taken care of, and I try to flatten my bed head to something a bit tamer. Bed head. I hear you, dude. It's the worst. That's why I always buzz that crap in the back there. All throughout, Hana still watches me, expectant and doting.
No need for that. We can have tea in the parlor, if you don't mind. Really now, Hana, there's no need to busy yourself over it.
Would it please you to have some tea then? I can fetch it if you wish.
What? She says I shall go ahead and prepare the parlor then.
Just relax.
I barely said 2 words before she's out of the door, however, and I'm left speaking to air.
Hana, what is up with that woman?
Though perhaps I should have said no. Perhaps I should have feigned business or claimed a restlessness that would let me out of the house, away from her and her pies. Because as soon as I've stated my intent to laze the day away, that woman would neither let me lift a finger nor step a foot outside. She is animated, oddly so, moving about the parlor and fetching things from me that she deems necessary. And more necessary, as if she knows what I need or want before I can even voice it out loud. A pillow for my feet and a book to read, though I cannot, for the life of me, focus on it. It does not bother me too much as I've read The Picture of Dorian Gray twice over. I knew nothing but shadows, and I thought them to be real. I should be glad for the attention and the doting, really. Instead, an uneasiness settles itself into my stomach.
Why don't you just sit down and relax, dear? We are supposed to be spending time together. I don't think you rushing around like a handmaid is how I pictured it. You are wearing yourself out, and the sun is still high in the sky.
You are wearing yourself out? You said that part pretty quickly. There's a stiff jerk of her head as if to say no, while she busies herself with making tea with water already lukewarm. Well, you would like that, right, Luke? Lukewarm. My instruction to take leave may be the only one she refuses to follow, even if I express concern for her well-being and point out that there are others assigned to the task she wishes to carry out.
You do not need the others. You have me. I wish to show my usefulness, and I wish that you not ask me to leave.
You are not one of the servants, Hana.
It was a thought that escapes my mouth, and I prepare myself for a reprimanding. Because servants, Lucille Mitchell Wright, these are our employees, and you will treat them with respect at the very least. Yet that didn't come.
Of course. Of course, I'm not a servant. I am your wife.
She acts like a servant. She acts like a servant because she's possessed by a servant. She's possessed by the servant girl who's a witch.
Your princess.
I think we're both a bit too old to be playing princes and princesses. I do not know what brought on such behavior from her. Yet I can't bring myself to scoff at the idea, not when she looks torn and kind words might bring her some degree of comfort. I will indulge in this delusional talk of monarchy to an extent. One could suppose that Hana is indeed Luxburn royalty after all. But as I've said in the past, this sort of obsession does not quite suit me. Yes, I do crave power and attention, but this sort of thing is suffocating, stifling, wrong. It must seem complicated and contradicting, when in all honesty, it's quite simple. If Hana were to ever put me on a pedestal, she would be turning into every other woman that I managed to seduce through my money and station. She'd be nothing less than the Hana that I have found to love. She'd be nothing but a mindless follower. Love and obsession is not one and the same. But things change. Feelings, people, they all change, weathered down by time. And not always for the better. The Hana I loved 7 years ago might not be the Hana that is with me now. Though I have to ask myself if it makes me love her any less. Perhaps. I don't want a lovesick woman who puts another before herself.
Princess. Oh, no, Hana. You are my queen. And a queen needs to sit next to her king. So please, sit.
It says his king. I can still feel them. Little bugs on my skin, crawling and squirming. But I ignore them as Hana sits down next to me and I put my hand in hers. The touch nearly makes me want to pull away. For now, I feel them burrowing into my skin, digging holes into me, though there is nothing to be seen there. I clasp her hand, though her touch burns both cold and hot. I do not like the thought that Hana, my sunshine, my darling, is someone I should fear. It's a bit of a paradox, for all that I do and should feel at peace in this quiet moment, dread overtakes every part of me. A small voice in the back of my head screams that there is something wrong, but I cannot bring myself to look further into it. The whole thing doesn't even last.
The tea is ready. I should go. I've forgotten the milk and sugar in the kitchens. If you may excuse me.
Okay, we got a choice here. Should I? Let's call the butler. Didn't affect our relationship. Interesting. Have I really been so aloof that Hana has to question where she stands? That she thinks that acting subservient is the only way to have my attention, my affection? This is
Hana,
wrong.
just... Johans would get the tea things. Just...
Sit. Stay. That's how you talk to a dog. No. Hana isn't some dog I have to leash and command. Yes.
Just be with me, even for a little while. We rarely have time nowadays, don't we? We're always so busy.
The others are always envious that my wife doesn't demand that we be joined by the hip. The freedom is nice to know that I need not be tied down to another person at all hours of the day. But even I can admit this much.
I missed you, you know. Let's just sit down together, yes?
She looks conflicted, though the reason eludes me. In the end, she chooses to stay. A summon for milk and sugar to be brought in is sent out. All the while, Hana remains restless. She doesn't utter a peep as Johans brings in things for brunch, as I may or may not have hinted that I've yet to have breakfast. Tea things are set in place along with sandwiches and all sorts of finger foods. But it's when the other man draws near to her, intent on serving tea, that Hana's calm starts to wither. She's on her feet, hands out to take the teapot from him. The look on her face is one of disgust and annoyance. I've seen that expression before many times, in the mirror, but never on her. It doesn't suit her, much like the way she speaks now.
You are not needed here. You can leave. Now.
Oh, of course, madam. If you may excuse me, sir, I'll...
Shrokin, stay. Just let him do his job, Buttercup. That's what he's here for.
No, he is not supposed to be here. None of them are. This home is for you and I. Others are not welcome. I want them gone. They do not belong here. They are not like you and I.
Something is wrong. She's wrong. It's interesting, that's exactly what Ash said at the end of his chapter. Hana had always been kind where I was not, and I loved her so because of it. Yet now there is no warmth in her voice, and the way she talks is too cutting and harsh. The way she holds herself is unsure, stiff and awkward, as if she's filled in shoes too small. This isn't Hana. The thought itself is an impossibility. It's not like someone can be so easily replaced by an imposter. I would know. Oh, his father, with him running the company. So why is she so wrong?
What's going on, Hana? What brought about this childish temper tantrum of yours? You know well enough that what you ask is ridiculous.
What has caused her warmth to grow cold?
I don't know what brought this on. I don't know if you woke up on the wrong side of the bed, or if Johans or any of the other maids ripped your favorite dress or something. But I am not going to get rid of our staff just because you're acting like a child in a sulk.
And wasn't that something? Often enough, I'm the one who's compared to a little brat and not the other way around. But it didn't amuse me enough to distract me from the situation. Grasping at Hana's shaking hand before she actually does have a temper tantrum, I have to stop myself from flinching. Her skin is hot to the touch, and if the feeling of bugs on my skin bothered me before, they're nothing to the stinging sensation I feel right now. Having her hand in mine should feel right.
You still do not understand, do you, my love? Not yet, but you will.
Look at that expression.
You will.
Cloudy eyes focus on me, ardent and filled with desire. Feels as if I'm being stripped until my very soul is bare. But it isn't a searching look, rather one that wishes to claim. The look she gives me is nothing short of unnerving, but watching as her eyes roll into the back of her head is a decidedly more terrifying sight. I let go and feel as her hand slips through mine before she falls to the ground, not intent of getting dragged down by dead weight. You let go of her. What? You didn't catch her? And doesn't that make me feel so horrible? It's an act of reflex more than anything, with the number of dead bodies I've handled in the past. Oh, wow. So he's a cold-hearted murderer. Okay. It's never a pleasant affair when a corpse tilts forward and pins you down. That still doesn't make it any better, of course. But what can I do? Catch her? Well, yes, but it's far too late for that, isn't it? Yes, I guess it is, isn't it? Inexplicably, the stinging sensation on my skin fades away. Not that what I'm feeling right now is any better. The whole thing brings unbidden images of Mother to mind. It makes me feel sick. I want to cry and beg, my audience be damned. But my scream dies out before I could reach my lips, a half-choked sob. Acting like a blubbering babe won't help. I've seen this happen before, but not to her. Mum, please wake up. Please, I'll be a good boy. Just don't leave me. Really, I should be more concerned, yet here I am, a deathly calm befalling me. I waste no time kneeling by her side, tapping a hand to her cheek in a flimsy attempt to wake her. Too pale skin jumps out at him now that he tries to find what is wrong with Hana. Even her golden hair has lost its sheen. Why was it third person there? Her pulse is quick and her breathing shallow. I half expect her to be as cold as ice with how she looks, yet she still burns like a furnace. What was that sentence that was in third person? Jumps out at him now that he tries to find what is wrong with Hana. Was this originally written in third person? That'd be weird, right? At the very least, that means she isn't dead yet.
Well, should we call for an ambulance?
If she doesn't wake up soon, yes. But it's best not to move her just yet, and...
Luke, what's going on? What happened?
I had no plans of apologizing as I shoved the butler aside to check on Hana. Though she still lays on the ground, all that matters is she's awake, that she isn't dead. Just the thought of it, fuck, I don't know what I would have done if things were to the contrary.
Hey there, Sunshine. How are you feeling? Do you think you're up to standing?
I don't feel too good, no. But I think I can stand.
She reaches out for my hand and I'm quick to take it. Her cold and clammy skin is a cause for concern, but I force a reassuring smile on my face. At least I hope it's reassuring. That isn't exactly an emotion I'm used to plastering on my face. I rarely have need or want to reassure anyone else. The most I can hope for is that I don't make her worry.
Come on then, let's get you up. Careful, careful. We don't want you to fall or break something.
Like a leg or your head. Though getting her up to her feet is easier said than done. She claims that she can manage to stand, but she's completely dead weight as I lift her up. Weak. Too weak. I can feel the trembling of her body as if just existing has exhausted her. Soon enough, Johans aids me as we manage to let Hana onto a chair without further incident. I have half the mind to wrench free and run. This is all too familiar, and I want no part in this, but do I even have the choice? At the moment, I suppose, yes. I'm not running away. That's preposterous. I just need to get some air.
Shrauken, take her up to our room and take care of her, all right? Schedule an immediate appointment to a physician. Get it done. As soon as possible. I just need to...
Breathe. I need to breathe. Okay. Let's take a look at the journal entry. So when did this happen? Oh, it's this one. So, Hana catered to Luke hand and foot, unless his discomfort. And she's seized, so this is after Zack and Ash had their little bro down. And then, let's see. This is around the same time that Rebecca's attacked in the library. Interesting. Gray skies loom over in the horizon, though the sun fights for every precious minute it gets to stay. Hang on. It'll rain again soon, with the wind bringing along the gloomy clouds normal to Luxburn. Until then, it doesn't hurt to be out here for fresh air and sunshine. I walk to the gardens, what little of it there is at the moment anyway, and kneel by the daffodils. He likes daffodils, right? They remind him of his mother? These were the first to be brought here and planted on my request, and if nothing else, they brought in a sense of peace. They were Mother's favorites. Closing my eyes, I lift up my chin to welcome the light that shines upon me, and for a minute I can imagine myself as one of the flowers, peaceful, blooming, and all too happy to stand in its warmth. Life would be much easier if we were all like flowers, wouldn't it? But I didn't step out here to get all philosophical. I have problems much more practical than figuring out the meaning of life, after all. Too many things have gone on these past few days. And I want to forget about them, even for just a moment.
It's almost All Saints, isn't it? To think I've almost forgotten.
I speak the words absent-mindedly. The date means nothing to me as I neither worship the religion nor have any graves to visit. After all, Mother was never given a proper burial. But it's a date as good as any for me to grieve, otherwise I would have done so every single day, crippling myself and shutting everyone else out. I can remember how the flames licked at her flesh and how it consumed her body until there was nothing left but ash. What? I stood there watching with the operator and a social service worker, though I could have been alone for all I care. Hang on, wait, what? His mother's bad habits led to an early grave is all we knew. she smoke and set the house on fire? I felt alone. It was the most that could be done. No one could attend the funeral of a dead prostitute, let alone pay for it. Oh, was it a funeral pyre? All that is left of her, proof that she had lived, is her name written in the ledger of Luxburn Cemetery. A lighter and me. They burned her body. Eleanor is her name. Pulling out the lighter from my jacket, I can't stop myself from flicking it open to stare at the flame and run my thumb over her name. All in all, it isn't much, but it's something. And it'll be wrong of me not to make something of myself when she would have given everything to make sure I could become anything I want to be.
Feels like I'm stuck in a nightmare right now. What I would give to have you here by my side, Mother dear. To see you smiling at me. Alive and as beautiful as ever.
Do you ever think that maybe the people that you killed, they have children who feel similarly towards them?
I'm afraid I'm starting to forget what your face looks like. I've already forgotten the shade of your hair.
Eleanor Chandler was a wonderful woman, though not everyone would have agreed. Not everyone had seen past her occupation, past her vices and her illness. All they saw was a poor woman who sold her body to make ends meet and had a bastard son because of it. They didn't see the mother who worked hard to put food on the table for me, the woman who gave and gave and gave to me while expecting nothing in return. She taught me the merits of hard work, but though I loved her so, I worked hard for myself. I would not be so foolish, so selfless towards people who would never give back. I learned that from the father who plucked me out of the orphanage for his own selfish gain. I pocket the lighter before I can feel the urge to actually set anything ablaze. Considering my close proximity to the flowers, they would be the most likely victim of arson. Just the thought itself is blasphemous. Nevertheless, that doesn't save them from being picked, just enough to make a bouquet of the things in honor of Eleanor.
Would you be proud of me if you saw me now, Mother? Maybe.
Maybe not.
You're always so forgiving. No matter what trouble I got into. More than I deserved. Especially now.
Yeah, well, you're killing people now, and I doubt you were when you were a kid, so... It's been a while since I've talked to my mother like this. They say that even when our loved ones have passed on, they stay to watch over us. Though I believe in neither a heaven nor a hell, a hopeful part of me wishes it were true, as ridiculous as the idea is. I can't help but grow still. A chill going up my spine when I do feel eyes upon me. For a while I think I'm imagining it, but I'm all too familiar with the sensation of being watched. Carefully I scan my surroundings, doing my best not to give away the fact that I'm aware of their presence, whoever they are. But there's not a soul in sight on the field surrounding the mansion. Yet they're on the balcony overlooking the garden. She stands there. Achievement unlocked, trick of the eye. She stands there, and though I cannot see her face clearly from afar, I know she is the one staring at me. A servant, if one were to judge by her clothing. From this distance, I can't discern what those stains on her clothing are. The woman gives off a rabid air and simply did not belong with her surroundings. This isn't what worries me, though. What worries me is that she isn't one of ours. She can't be. Obvious signs of being tattered and dirty state aside, there shouldn't be anyone else in the mansion aside from the three of us. And that's the balcony that leads to our bedroom. Forget pretending that I don't notice her.
You! What are you doing there? You're not supposed to be there!
It's a stupid thing to do, I realize in hindsight, but calling attention to it was a spur-of-the-moment plan. From the height, there's no way she would have jumped off the balcony, and perhaps she would have only been able to sneak in there because Hana's asleep. Calling out to her would wake Hana and at the very least call Johan's attention to the matter at hand. I dread to think of any other way she could have gotten there without Hana calling for us. The woman on the balcony doesn't react, barely even stirs. Probably drug-addled or touched in the head, though that begs the question of how she even managed to get there. All of a sudden, we can hear the train. Gotta look at the journal entry. So this is after the library, after the reunion. That's when it happened. Right. So, right now, the gang is meeting up at Isabella's apartment. That changes nothing, of course, and doesn't stop me from running back to the mansion.
Shuriken! There's an intruder! In the bedroom!
Wow.
Upstairs! Secure Hana immediately!
Bursting in through the front doors, I'm greeted by Johans with a kitchen knife in his hands, looking wary and alert. There's a question on his lips for a moment, but he's quick to fall into place, giving me a curt nod before we rush up the foyer stairs. That woman would need to go through us to get anywhere, and between me and the butler, there's no way she's getting away. There's no announcing ourselves as I slam the bedroom door open, expecting to see the worst inside. When we find Hana simply seated at her vanity without a care in the world, my relief can't be any greater. I don't even question if she's well enough to be moving around yet. But that is soon followed by suspicion and caution. Without a word, I signal for Johans to search through the room for the intruder, even going so far as to slipping into the second bedroom. She couldn't have gone anywhere else, not without getting our attention, and not without Hana noticing. It isn't too far-fetched to think that she may have been coerced to act like nothing is out of the ordinary. If she's being forced to do this, she would be able to tell me without alerting the criminal. We should be ready for such things, after all, being the wealthy, powerful, and influential people that we are. And though I hesitate to break her peace, to make her worry any more that she has the right to be, I know that matters of safety shouldn't be taken so lightly. Even if I could just content myself in watching her. Even if I could just content myself in just watching her.
Are you all right, Hana?
There's a moment of silence as she fastens a cord around her neck, and with her back still turned to me, she replies as calmly as can be.
Of course I am. Why wouldn't I be? Is there something wrong?
There's no sign of coercion or deceit. She gives none. Everything looks fine, seems fine. Hana says as much. Stepping out into the balcony doesn't say anything differently. The outside is devoid of any signs of any other human life with how secluded the property is. Though it is hard to be sure with how the sun has set, trying to locate anyone on the large property by myself would be futile. Whether it is the truth or a convenient lie, one could only assume that everything is all right. And even Johans is in agreement.
There's nobody in the second bedroom or in the closet. It's all clear.
You check under the bed? Yet I can't fight off the awful feeling that has taken over me.
Are you sure? Nobody? Double check. Triple check everything. Check the whole house if you have to.
What's going on? What is all this then?
He claims to have seen an intruder standing on your balcony. Did you notice anyone here, madam?
No, it's just been me. I've not heard or seen anybody else aside from the two of you all day. Strange.
The others have been given the day off. There shouldn't be anybody else here. Are you sure of what you saw? Perhaps you were...
Yes, I bloody well am sure of what I saw. There was a woman standing there, dark hair and in servant's clothing. Are you insinuating that I am making things up? That I'm going mad? Because if you are, I don't care how competent you've been. I won't have such disrespect directed at me. It's not paranoia if people are out to get me.
My anger is easily aroused, no thanks to the adrenaline rush that's kicked in sometime, I don't know when. I don't think I'll ever get used to this feeling, really. No matter how many a time I've had to rely on it to survive on the streets as a child, to survive everything with how high I've managed to prop myself up. And I take any and all threats toward my person seriously.
I'm not implying that you're mad. The occasional hallucination is a completely normal and human experience, as long as it isn't a repeat occurrence.
Oh, so what? That was a trick of the light? My imagination?
You haven't ingested any alcohol today, have you?
A valid question, but...
I am not drunk.
In my state, I only realize how quiet Hana has gotten when she doesn't joke about my debatable alcoholism. There's no clever quip or words of fond exasperation. She's only been watching me through all of this. And when I do notice that, I start feeling bugs crawling on my skin. When I didn't deign to speak further, fixated on the sensation, Johans cuts in.
Whatever the case, we need to establish tighter security. We should have done so from the start. If you were seeing things, then we got lucky. Had there been a real intruder, we were ill prepared.
Of course. I trust that you can hire the most qualified from the agency. Are you all right, Hana? You seem disquieted.
I'm well, my love. I was just worried about how the hallucination brought you distress.
It wasn't a hallucination, I'm sure of it. But what can I do to prove otherwise?
It doesn't matter. You are safe, as am I. I overreacted.
Perhaps rest is necessary. It is late into the day, and you must be tired from your gardening.
Before I ask how she knew what I was doing, a small fond smile graces her lips before she brushes away a few yellow petals from my sleeve. But does it really look like I'm that exhausted? I'm sure to be well rested despite it all, and it's not like I've done anything physically exhausting today. Beyond running here in a hurry, anyway. No doubt I left a trail of the flowers in my mad dash. And I suppose I do look like a mess.
Rest sounds good. I guess I'll need to sleep a lot more than I thought. But
I'll stand guard outside for the night. You two have nothing to worry about. Nothing to worry about? I'm not so sure about that, Schrocken. But thinking any more about it isn't going to do anything.
Come on then, my love. Off to bed. I have been restless without you by my side.
Even then, I can't force away the uneasiness that settles over me. Sleep is hard to attain, and even Hana's embrace does not help. She's still burning up. Alright, well, we're already at Halloween. Weird. Let me just take a look real quick before we end the episode. I guess since there's like so many branching paths, I mean, but we're not that far in. Okay, well, that's where we're gonna end this video. Hope you guys are enjoying so far. Yeah, we're gonna keep going through this. I guess a lot's gonna happen today and tomorrow. We'll see. All right, see you guys later. Bye.